Hi everybody, I'm Lauren, and today I thought I'd do a video on just some chill books that you can read. I know there's a lot of stress going on with this whole pandemic going on, and it really sucks. It's not happy for anybody, and I know some people really like to read more dystopian and stuff to fit with what's going on, but I know personally I just really like something more chill when everything sucks, I guess, to put it simply. So I thought I'd give a few recommendations for some chiller books, just in case you also feel the need for some more relaxing-ish reads. Although before I get into those recommendations, I would recommend rereading childhood classics, or like your own favorite books as a kid. I just find for me, just rereading is very comfortable. You get back into characters that you're familiar with, a world that you're familiar with, and just kind of an easy ride. Obviously, I can't really recommend anything for that because it highly depends on what you read as a kid. I know I read Harry Potter and stuff like that, but that is one suggestion that is not very specific, but there it is. For some specific recommendations, most of these are going to be fantasy, just because that's what I have the most of. I don't really have anything chill that's outside of the fantasy genre, so if you don't like fantasy, I'm sorry. But I do have two non-fantasy manga recommendations. The first one I have here is Yotsuba by Kiyohiko Azuma. This is a slice-of-life comedy type series where it follows the main character, Yotsuba, who's, 7 or something. She's a little kid, and she is always having a good time, getting into trouble. She's a really nice kid, though. She's not out to get anyone, but she's a little dense, and just a lot of fun. There are 14 volumes in this series, and each one of them is a lot of fun and really good. That's quite a few volumes there to go through. Unfortunately, there's not any more, but this is one of my favorite manga series because it is just so chill. The other manga that I have to recommend is probably my favorite manga, maybe, and that is A Bride's Story by Kaoru Mori. This is another slice of life type one, except it's more historical, takes place in Central Asia, in different places. They don't really name specifically the places, but you get to learn a lot about these different towns and their traditions and what they do, and just the art as well is so intricate and well drawn, just so over-the-top detail, and the characters are a lot of fun. They have their issues that they need to solve. They're not trying to save the world and whatever. There's not a whole lot of overarching plot, but it is just simple and breezy, and it's just really good. I love this a lot. This also has a nice advantage of it being in a very different place than I'm kind of used to. You know, like in fantasy, you often read European-centric or kind of like something you're more familiar with, I guess. But I have a feeling that most people are not really familiar with Central Asia type cultures. So this might be nice to get a taste of something different as well, I think. Also, I just want to recommend it to everybody because I love this. So read, please. Thank you. The next two, I want to recommend my favorite light novel series. I know it's not for everybody, but I just want to recommend them because I don't talk about them that often sometimes, and I sort of do. I don't know. I really love them. The first one I want to talk about is Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody by Hiro Ainana. Guy gets transported to another world. He finds that he has crazy overpowered abilities, and instead of trying to want to go back home or being assigned to fight a demon overlord that's trying to overrule everybody or anything like that, he just wants to travel around, eat some food, have a good time. That's his goal. He does come across problems along this way where he easily solves with his crazy abilities, but he also tries to keep it on the low down. He doesn't want too much attention because he just wants to relax. it's just a lot of fun. He meets a lot of different characters on his journey. They're not super deep, any of them, but at the same time, they're just silly and kind of fun, and they just all want to have a good time and eat good food, and I think that's just really chill and relaxing. Again, it's not really something for everybody. It does have a lot of kind of game type elements. He has various interfaces that he can see and interact with. He can upgrade his abilities that makes him pretty overpowered. I know there are a lot of people that don't like that overpowered, can easily beat whatever, but this is pretty fun for me. And just chill, and the world is pretty cool, I think, too. Probably my favorite light novel series that I also want to recommend as a very chill read is Ascendance of a Bookworm by Mia Kazuki. This is another main character gets transported to another world, but it's almost the exact opposite of Death March in that the main character is put into a body of a weak, poor peasant girl, and she can't really do that much. She's kind of stuck in her town, and she just wants to read books, but her family can't afford them. It's like a medieval type world where they don't have a printing press, so books are extremely expensive and only for the nobility. And so she tries to use her knowledge from our world and bring that into that world and make her own books or try and find any sort of possible way to get books. It's not like the problems aren't that big. It's just getting books, trying to survive in this world, figure out how this world works, try not to attract too much attention because she has the knowledge of like a full-grown adult, and that's kind of weird, and I think she's like 6 or 7 or something like that. But again, it's just chill and easygoing, and I really love it. Now the rest of my recommendations are all regular type novels. The first one I want to recommend, I actually don't own, unfortunately, yet, and it's been a long time since I read it, but that is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wayne Jones. I think some people are familiar about this book from the Ghibli movie. It's a little bit different than that, but it's mostly kind of the same in overall premise. Main character gets turned into a old lady and has to go on a journey to try and lift the curse. On her journey, she finds Howl, who's this kind of eccentric wizard, and his moving castle, hence the title, and she just kind of lives with him for a while and learns about him and what's going on in the world and tries to figure out how to break her curse at the same time. And it's a pretty light fantasy as well. Like, there's definitely some overworldly things going on in the background, but it's not the main focus, and it's not that crazy intense either. And I really like the main character as well. She's just a good person, and she takes being turned into an old person really well, and I just kind of like that too. Rewatching Howl's Moving Castle right after would be a good idea too, maybe, because that's a good movie too if you like anime. Next one, I haven't read too far in the series. Actually, I've only read the first book in the series, but based off of what my husband has told me and what I've read, I want to recommend the Iron Druid series by Kevin Hearn. This is a very comedic-centered, urban fantasy. The main character is this druid that has lived for, thousands of years, I think. Centuries is what it says. And he just kind of wants to chill again, but he has to deal with people messing up his town and ruining his day. And so he goes to kick butt and stuff. And he has like a talking dog that's really funny. And he meets a lot of other different characters that are just kind of witty and funny. It's a very comedic series. Like, at least the first book is. I'm assuming the rest of the series is too, but I need to read more of these. From what I understand. It's a good first book at the very least. Next one I have to recommend is a very different series than the other ones. It's a sci-fi, and that is the Murderbot series by Martha Wells. I'm just picking up the fourth one because it's right there, and I'm lazy. Don't want to pick up the first one. This follows a cyborg type character, Murderbot, and he's just trying to live his life trying to pretend to be a normal person even though he's like this murder machine, basically. And he just wants to relax, watch his media, but everything falls apart around him, basically, and he has to deal with people's shenanigans. And he feels so bad for Murderbot, but he has a lot of humor. He's just tired of everybody's shit, and it's really good. Also, the books are very short. They're all novellas so far. Network Effect comes out in May, which is a full novel, but they're really breezy reads because they're so short and also so fun. And I love Murderbot. He's pretty popular on BookTube, so you may have heard of him too. So, yay, Murderbot. I'm good at talking about books. Next book I want to talk about is one that might be a little bit harder to get than some of these other books because it's not in print, but I want to mention it anyway because I really love it. I've read it quite a few times, and that is The Last Dragon by Silvana de Mari. This is kind of a difficult one to explain because it's about a lot of different things, sort of. I don't know. But this is kind of about the last elf who knows of this prophecy, and he's trying to figure out how to fulfill this prophecy if he's part of the prophecy, and there's this last dragon involved, and kind of, it's a very slow journey type thing. This one has quite a lot of humor in it, almost Discworld-esque, but not quite as frequently. There's just a lot of really silly jokes and things in here, and overall just very breezy ride as well. And that's why I really like this so much, and I wish it was a little bit easier to get a hold of. I mean, it is cheap to buy at the least, but there's no Kindle version, so I'm sad, and it's not technically in print, but if you can get a hold of a copy, I would recommend it. It is a little bit more middle grade-y side of YA, I think. I don't know if it's technically middle grade, but yeah, I really enjoy it. It's also translated from Italian. I think I wouldn't have known that if I didn't look that up. Next thing I have to recommend is, well, I have Alana here, but I also have read the Immortal series, both by Tamora Pierce, and I recommend both of them, probably. I've only read the first one of Alana, but I've read the full Immortal series. And based off of what I read here, and what I've read of the full Immortals, these are just kind of, yeah, again, breezy, easygoing. Like, there's definitely some tension, like there's definitely things that need to be done right away or else bad stuff happens, but it's just these strong female main characters that are trying to get by in a world that's very against them, but they don't care, they're gonna do what they want to do, kind of thing. And I don't know how to describe them, but I really love them. A lot of people really love them too, and just reading them makes me feel good. So, I don't know, might make other people feel really good too. I recommend these a lot. The last two I have to recommend are another kind of familiar childhood favorite of mine, and I think a lot of other people will like, and that is Ella Enchanted and The Two Princesses of Baromir, both by Gail Carson Levine. I think a lot of people read these as kids. I know I have. Ella Enchanted is about a girl who has it's kind of a curse, essentially, where she has to do whatever she's told to do, and she wants to break this curse, because this really sucks. She goes on a long journey to try and figure that out, but it's just a really tough curse to break. But she's a really strong, independent main character, and I really like that about her. And this one is about the two princesses of Baromir, the stronger, adventurous one and a more timid, kind of shyer one. The braver one gets ill, and so the more timider one has to toughen up a little bit and go on the adventure that her sister always wanted to go on, just to try and save her. And again, just kind of strong female main characters. Definitely for more younger audiences, probably, but I still really like them, as an adult today. Maybe some childhood reread bias there, but I have disliked some books I really loved as a kid, so keep that in mind. I don't know. I really recommend these. They're good children's classics. Very breezy, very short too, and I love them. So these are just a few recommendations I have for some breezier reads for this kind of turbulent time. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these or if you have any other recommendations for some chiller books. I'm always looking for other chill books to read. I do quite enjoy more relaxing type books, so I'd appreciate other recommendations as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again for another video. Bye! I'm always looking. No! Ah!